holder ever did that I agreed with, in which he ordered the Justice Department under Obama to stand down and to respect states' rights in the states that had legalized, now 29. Sessions would like to repeal this memo and start arresting people. What transpired, to the good news would be that thanks to the efforts of President Trump and Senator Schumer and a broad cross-section of Republicans and Democrats working together, the amendment by Dana Ross Rohrabacher of California and Congressman Blumenauer, I believe, was successfully attached to the emergency appropriations for Hurricane Harvey. So legal marijuana in the United States is protected at least through December. I was in Washington last week working the phones, taking meetings, moving around to try to achieve this. And meanwhile, a small group of dissidents calling themselves the Minority Business Cannabis Association objected to my planned and scheduled speech at the Cannabis World Business Expo in Los Angeles. This was the second in a series of speeches. I spoke to their expo in New York and was extremely well received when I announced the formation of an ad hoc bipartisan nonprofit designed for the narrow purpose of persuading the president to stick with his pledge to the American people that he would respect states' rights and he would protect the access of millions of Americans, including veterans, to marijuana for medicinal purposes. Additionally, we're going to appeal to the president to change the schedule of marijuana from 1 to 2. Now, Owen, I'm not a newcomer to this cause. As a libertarian Republican, I have been in the forefront of marching for, writing for, lobbying for drug law reform since 2003. In fact, in 2003, I addressed a rally in Bryant Park with Reverend Al Sharpton and Russell Simmons and the activist Randy Credico, calling for reform of New York's racist, draconian, outrageous drug laws. I wrote in favor of the amendment of that law in 2008. I spoke in 2006. I spoke out against it in 2008 when the alleged reforms looked to me like they weren't enough. I am no newcomer to this, but the Minority Business Cannabis Business Enterprise demanded that I be dropped as a speaker based on research from Media Matters for America, which alleges that I am a racist, misogynist, and anti-Semite. When one examines their research, half of it's simply fabricated, things I literally never said. In other cases, they're taken out of context, although in an interview with the Daily Caller, I did actually apologize for the use of the word Negro in emails to Ben Carson, Herman Cain, Alan West, and Roland Martin. I now realize that in my attempt to be sarcastic, that some may have taken that as offensive. For that, I heartfully apologize. Anti-Semite? Misogynist? No. When you criticize an individual woman, that does not make you a misogynist. When you criticize someone who is Jewish, that doesn't make you an anti-Semite. I've never said anything anti-Semitic in my life. It's a smear. But after conferring with the Reverend Al Sharpton, who's the other speaker at this conference, the Minority Cannabis Business Association, their leader, some woman who calls herself Miss Mo Money or whatever, decided that I should not speak. Perhaps she is unfamiliar with Reverend Sharpton's long record of anti-Semitic and anti-Jewish comments, a record that, by the way, I have forgiven him for. He's apologized. I've accepted that. But I'm held to a quite different standard. That's why this is mildly amusing. Let's cut to the chase. My amendment, First Amendment rights will not be abridged. I will be speaking, Owen, in Los Angeles at the Expo at noon at the Alchemy Lounge at 603 West Pico, where we're going to have a brief rally in celebration of at least our temporary victory to protect medicinal marijuana and talk about why we need a bipartisan approach to this issue. So there it is. There is the breakdown.
Well, they must not know Roger Stone if they thought that they could stop him from speaking. I know you well enough, Roger, to know that nothing is going to stop you. And we're about to go to this break, Roger, but on the other side, you know, we've got a lot of Trump loyalists right now that are kind of on edge or not happy with the way that Sessions is approaching the marijuana issue, the drug issue, the legalization of cannabis issue. And let's also get into more about Sharpton and compare it to Stone. Last I checked, I don't think you owe millions in back taxes. Last I checked, you couldn't go on television and then barely read a teleprompter. You just spoke very eloquently for the last 9 minutes, Roger. How in the heck do they expect Al Sharpton to do that?
Well, you're right. I don't own the millions. I only owe them hundreds of thousands. It's a terrible tax system. Look, I am at peace with Sharpton. I recognize what he is. He knows what I am. He said things in his past that he regrets. He apologized for those, and I'm a Christian. I believe in redemption. His politics are not my politics. But to say Stone cannot speak, but Sharpton can, well, that's a weird brand of political correctness. Or to
We'll be right back, folks. This is The War Room. Welcome back to The War Room, at War Room Show on Twitter, warroom.show to find the live streams and the archived content. We are with Roger Stone right now for the remainder of this hour. We were just talking about how they're trying to stop him from speaking at a cannabis expo, but they had it all wrong. They can't stop Roger Stone, and he does plan on speaking. Roger?
You know, one of the claims here that is particularly egregious, of course, is that Stone shouldn't speak at a cannabis event because he has promoted the drug warriors Nixon, Reagan, and Trump. First of all, I have criticized extensively, both in writing and speeches, the war on drugs as envisioned by President Nixon for 30 years. But when it comes to being a drug warrior, do these people not understand that Obama and the Clintons make Reagan and Nixon look like pikers, just in terms of